name's Craig, nice to see you all. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so hopefully it holds out for the full, I'm going to take this out. Hopefully it holds out for the full 20 minutes. So my name's Craig, I'm a sports fan, and 2 years ago I thought that was the greatest crest in the world. I really did. And the reason for that is it's the only Hull car crest I ever knew. I grew up with that crest. My dad grew up with a version of that crest. And if there's one thing sports fans do not like, that's change. We hate change. We hate it when we change the pies at the stadium or when we change the shirt every year. We cannot stand change. And I think part of the reason for that is we make such an emotional attachment to this. Is following a sports team and going to the games is quite, there's a lot of nostalgia because normally it's your parents or your grandparents that kind of get you into it and you inherit your team. So you've got all those like nostalgic memories. So when anybody talks about changing sport, it's normally, oh, hi Andy, didn't see you there. It's normally a really bad idea. If you think about it in branding terms, like how many people do you know that have Tesco tattooed on their arm? Like almost nobody, hopefully. And if you do, you need to think about your friendship circles. And how many funerals do you go to where you see someone get buried in a coffin draped with an Asda flag? Again, hopefully nobody. But I see that all the time. I know loads of people that have got that tattooed on their arm. I know loads of people that get buried in a Hull car flag. So I get it. I understand it. It's a really, really sensitive subject. But in our 140-year history, which it is next year, we've changed loads. We used to play rugby union for starters. We used to be called Kingston amateurs. We used to have all these different crests over the years. So when people say, oh, you can't change this, you can't change that, oh, we're always changing. We used to play West Hull. We're always changing, we're always evolving. So 2 years ago, I was in a Super League meeting and the then chief exec said that he's just come back from Sky Sports. And Sky Sports said, the game, rugby league has to evolve or it will die. Rugby league has to evolve or it will die. And they put this slide up. And bearing in mind I've worked in rugby league for 6 years at this point, I'd never actually looked at our 12 club logos side by side objectively, because like I said, I love that crest. I thought there was nothing wrong with it. And I saw that slide and I got it. And Sky said, doesn't look like you play the same sport. Far too much detail in some of those for digital, certainly for broadcast. You've got to do something about it. You've got to smile yourself up. You've got to evolve and change for the broadcast in the digital world. Otherwise you're going to get left behind. And the penny dropped for me. I knew we had to do something from that day to change and evolve. And rebrands are a very difficult, we don't call it a rebrand because that's a dirty word in sport. Also, we're calling it an evolution of our crest. It's not a rebrand, so I've got to correct myself there. But rebrands can go wrong. Any Hull City fans in? And of course, the famous one, I couldn't do a presentation without getting a dig in. Hull Sharks fans? You know. So why? Why do we have to change? Why do we have to smart ourselves up? The reason is because you'll know this, you'll get it in your work. 75% of all traffic will be on mobile devices by 2025. And we get such a tiny, tiny space to impress. And you see our logo on there, you can't even see the Kingston Rovers. You can't see that the Three Crowns are supposed to represent the city of Hull. You can't see the RFC. So why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? And have a think about your own Twitter profiles. For your companies, if you've got loads of text on their phone numbers, what's the point? No one can see it. It's tiny. So that's one of the reasons. And in all of this, I call it the baseball cap test when we're kind of looking at different options. Because does a 7-year-old want to wear a baseball cap with 3 crowns on it? Probably not. So keep that in mind as we go along, because a lot of this is about future-proofing the club and making sure we're here for the next 140 years. So we went off, we looked at all different sports, different teams. NFL, absolutely the best at this. So what they have is full logo, word mark, icon. Keep that in mind. Full logo, word mark, icon. And how that plays out for them. Really clean on digital, really, really, really clean, cool, slick. Side of the stadium, I should have said on that. Just the icon, so no text. Side of the stadium, training ground, full logo, put the town name in, and then on their jerseys. See, I'm losing my voice. On their jerseys, just word mark. So That's how they use their different assets. They've got a suite of assets they can use depending on the platform and the format. So where did that leave us? There was very much two schools of thought. We went to speak to supporters aged 4 to 74, some kind of people in the marketing industry within the city, but also further afield. We actually appointed a company in London, which I hate taking business out of the city, but they did the Premier League rebrand, and they're absolutely the best at this type of stuff. So we spoke to loads of people, got loads of research insight, what the people like, what the people don't like, and half the fans or half the groups was like, you can't change, don't change the shape, can't change the shape, absolutely not. Got to say Hull KR, go after the 3 crowns. Oh yeah, you can't change the 3 crowns. And the other half was saying, well, actually, we're going to change, we're going to evolve. Let's be bold. Let's go all out for the animal thing. Let's go full NFL, like animal-based nickname stuff. So we was left in a really, really tricky spot of like, how are we going to achieve the same shape, 3 crowns, and the robin, basically. And the robin's really important to us. So we actually one of the first sport organisations in the world to have an animal-based nickname. It came from the late 1800s. And we were known as the Robin Redbreasts. So it's a really authentic story for us, and it's kind of like always been with us. So it's not like we've just gone and gone, oh, let's be Hull Rockets, or something like that. It's actually authentic and true to our history. So I don't know if you've ever kind of experienced this in a meeting, but it was lockdown, so it was a Teams call. And like all creative moments, you don't really know where they come from. But I said something, and then there was like a silence, and it was probably only 5 seconds, but it felt like about 5 hours. And I said, I don't suppose there's any way we could make a crown look like a robin. And yeah, there was a lot of puzzled faces, and I was like, I'll draw it for you guys, I'll draw it. So that's what I drew. More silence and puzzled faces. So I was like, come on guys, it's a robin, isn't it? And to be fair, to their absolute credit, they went off and they did 36 different versions of crown-based robins, which I thought was brilliant. So I'm going to show our launch video, and then I'm going to talk a bit about what we did after the launch.
The famous Hull Kingston Rovers, the Robins, representing the 3 crowns of Hull for 140 years. Proud of our history, our tradition. But to truly grow, you have to look forwards and evolve. Let's create new memories together and look forward to new horizons with determination and fierce eyes to build for our tomorrow. This is a symbol, a colour, an identity that shouts, we are Hull KR, the Robins. This is our city, it is our time, and we are ready to rise again.
There we go, 3 crowns also double up as robins. So it gives us the full crest version, which you'll see on the side of the stadium, on the kits, which are launching tonight, by the way, look out for those. And then it gives us this really strong, cool icon, which won't say you when you see it on the big screen. And what that allows us to do is, so we've got the full crest, the word mark, the icon. So depending on the merchandise, we flip between, really clean on digital. So yeah, we really start thinking about the assets and what to place where, and over time we're going to really give that robin more and more personality, and probably get Rufus involved in that a lot. So I want to talk about how we achieve this without causing World War III in a Hull City, Hull Shark situation. And we actually started, bearing in mind this project started in 2019, we actually started telling fans about it in a really we just kind of kept like slipping in some of the key messages in January this year. And the reason for that is, I think, where a lot of rebrands go wrong is, particularly in sport, I think, it's the shock value where it's like, oh, why are you changing? Like we said at the start, why are you changing? We've had that crest forever, even though we haven't. Like, why are you changing? So all the way in January, we were talking about some of the key messages. And what we were trying to do is give the fans the tools to be informed and kind of have some of those debates on Facebook and on the forums and all that type of stuff. So that when we actually got to launching it, there was talking about the launch and not the why and why you're changing. So we did that over the year, kept dropping out little bits of information, talked about, we've got an analog badge in a digital world, and that wasn't the badge's fault. It was designed in the 40s, and it was well before Twitter. So, we talked about all that, planted the seeds, and gave the fans the tools to do a bit of our arguing for us, so that when we got to launch, they was informed, they could kind of fight some of our battles. This is interesting. So I'm a complete control freak when it comes to like marketing and stuff. So my big paranoia on the whole thing was leaks. So bearing in mind the kit went into production in like February, March. The signage obviously all had to be done and ready. We had like 15,000 products like coming into the shop, all that type of stuff. Like I was waking up in the middle of the night thinking, oh God, I bet it's on Twitter, I bet it's on Facebook, I bet someone's leaked it. And the reason I was so paranoid is because when Wigan did their rebrand, they applied for a trademark, and as part of that process you have to upload the logo, and that appeared online, and then someone got hold of it and started sharing it on Twitter. So the first time anybody saw the new Wigan logo, it was literally that. And what a first impression. So there's no wonder it had a tough birth, shall we say, because it just looks awful. And it also put them on the back foot. They couldn't control the narrative, they couldn't control the story because it had been completely blown. So they were on the back foot, almost the opposite to the way that we did it, I guess. So again, part of the launch, we launched this microsite, and again, it's about giving fans all the tools that they need. Hopefully that sounds good.
For our tomorrow.
I should have muted that. Give the fans all the tools, the why, the how, what the process was, who's been involved, who's the fans that have been involved in this, where did the Robins come from, some testimonials, Robin facts, you name it, we got it all in there. It was all about giving the fans the tools to do our kind of job for us in some respects and fight our battles and help with that advocacy. So if our fans are talking positively about it online, those who are a bit 50-50, more likely to go along with it. So we launched at 6 o'clock on a Friday, and at like 1 minute past 6, we had designs in, changing our signage. We took every single product out of the shop and replaced it with new products. All online, all straight away, because we had a game on the Saturday night. So, there's 221 crests in our stadium, and we couldn't change every one overnight, but we had a pretty good go. Because it was really important to us when fans walked into the game on a Saturday that they saw it and they knew that we was committed to it and we're not going to change our mind. And actually, I think it was quite impressive, and it really helped kind of with some of that selling and embedding it in. And it was live on Sky, so what a better platform could you have to launch a new brand and getting your head coach and Mossy wearing it. And to come back to the baseball cap test, I think it looks pretty cool in a baseball cap. I think a 7-year-old would want to wear that. And that's pretty much it. So that's where Super League was. A couple of clubs have been through this process. We're slowly getting there. We're starting to look a bit smarter, a bit more consistent, starting to look a bit more stand out for digital and broadcast. And that's it. That's how we evolved the club's crest and launched it. So I think we're doing questions at the end. And if you're not one for like public or whatever, just grab me at the end. Happy to chat. Add us on LinkedIn, all that stuff. Happy to chat, whatever. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was useful. Hope there's some lessons in there for your business. And if you're not a sports fan, I hope you enjoyed it as well, because I get that some of that was probably a bit sports centric. But thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to be here.